Good evening, guys, and welcome back to the FPL Duo. Back again for another stream. This one it's for Blank Gameweek 29. So yeah, looking forward to this one. Quite a few things to discuss. How are you doing, Jordan? How's your week been so far?
Yeah, so far so good. Obviously, we've had football in between. Obviously, Premier League football forward this weekend. But yeah, interesting results. But obviously, we're here to talk about Blank Gameweek 29, and obviously, this is an important week in terms of, as you know, chip strategies and differentials. So yeah, a lot to discuss through this week.
We've got Jack in the chat, got Ezra, and we've also got Manish as well about a lot of questions coming about free hit as well. So we'll discuss free hit. So just a quick rundown. We're going to discuss Blank Gameweek 29. We'll discuss player transfers, team selection, captaincy, and we will also have a free hit selection draft on the screen as well. So let's kick things off quickly with a quick clean sheet probability. Now, obviously, we know Newcastle, Crystal Palace, Aston Villa, and Liverpool all blank. So no fixtures for them. In terms of where you can expect a clean sheet, Arsenal 38% chance, surprisingly, against Chelsea at home, as the most likely team to keep a clean sheet, and Brighton are bottom with 13% chance against Man City away. So those are the clean sheet odds for this week. Not really anyone outstanding for the clean sheet, so I wouldn't bank on many this week if I'm looking at the stats anyway for the clean sheet probability. Let's move on then to quickly transfers in. So I'll let you take the transfers in, Jordan. So Bruno, number one, does that surprise you, or what do you make of the highest transferred in player this week?
I think that helps from obviously Bruno scored a lovely free kick in game week 28, but it seems like for Man United, whenever there's a player to rely on score, it's normally Bruno Fernandes, because watching Man United games, he's the only player that really looks like he's going to potentially get a haul or get something result. And he has from the last 3 game weeks. He's had 1 goal, 2 assists, and then 1. So he's had 2 goals and 2 assists in the last 3 game weeks. So he's the only reliable Man United player. And it's no surprise for this week, especially for free hitters that might swap out Palmer, who hasn't been really on quite good form recently, and go for Bruno Fernandes, who has a right fixture. Leicester, we know Man United's form is unpredictable, and we're not sure what we're going to get from this game, but I think it's a good punt to go on. And I'm not surprised that he's been transferred in for at least 259,000 managers.
Yeah, of course, Bruno has a nice fixture. Chris Wood's up there, Clivert, these are all good picks. But we will come on to what our plans are as well in terms of transfers out. And then obviously, I believe number 2 is Palmer. Sorry, instead of Chelsea, I believe number 2 is Palmer, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's Palmer.
Yeah, Palmer's up there, guys. A lot of people taking him out before he plays Arsenal. Obviously, he's been a bit of a dip in form, but Lewis Hall, we know he's injured. Cunha suspended. Isak is fit. Obviously, we know he has a blank game week after he's going to be participating in the cup final. Let's move on to the big sort of dilemma a lot of people have, and should you free hit? And if you do free hit, then what sort of players should we be looking at? So Jordan's put together this draft. Jordan, talk us through the draft you've gone with, and why you selected certain players as well, if you want to run through that.
Well, yes, obviously starting off with goalkeeper, and that is Pickford. So we start with him as the first option on the starting 11. I still think with Everton not keeping that many clean sheets in recent game weeks, I still think despite that, they still hold a decent record in terms of clean sheets. We've seen this season, they've had obviously 9 so far. Not a surprise. They have held off big teams as well. Likes of Arsenal held them to a draw. And the fixture against West Ham, obviously they've been without Antonio. Only reliance for goals is Bowen. So I would like to give him a chance, Pickford, at home, to maybe keep a clean sheet. If not, perhaps some save points in there, because I still think West Ham lack that attacking threat that they didn't have, obviously, when Antonio suffered a massive injury. But yeah, I'll still give him a chance this week against West Ham at home. The back three selections in terms of their defenders. So Aina, I think is a perfect one. A lot of people will probably have him in the team already, but I think for this week you definitely want to go for him in the free hit if you haven't got him already. Like me, I've got Milenkovic, but I think Aina is a better option because of his attacking threat, not because he can keep a clean sheet, but he could possibly get you an assist. He did get one against Southampton at home in game week 22. So against a newly promoted team like Ipswich away, he could provide another one to add to maybe the obviously the clean sheet too. Next to him, Nuri, Southampton away. No brainer here really, because the only Wolves defender that possibly again could give you another attacker return is him. And especially against Southampton, maybe they can nick a clean sheet as well, Wolves. But again, Southampton are in like a relegation area, so there is a chance they could possibly score a bite clean sheet. And then finally, you got Kirkes. Again, I'm not expecting a clean sheet against any of these defenders. They're more for the attacker return, and Kirkes has shown that for Bournemouth and how high he gets up the pitch. So these are the ideal three, I think, for this week in terms of the free hit. In terms of midfield, you've got Gibbs White for the double up on Nottingham Forest. I think he's been pretty underlooked in terms of his form in recent game weeks. He has amassed a lot of points without really being seen. I mean, got an assist against Man City, assist against Newcastle, and against Fulham. So if he is a provider to a goal, like Chris was the goal scorer, then it's probably going to come from him. And he could be a nicer differential for this free hit team. Next to him is in Burmo. I think it's a tough fixture because obviously he plays against his teammate Clivert. So I'm hoping that's going to be a high scoring game, but I think he is definitely worth including as well in Burma just because of his ownership will be relatively high. There isn't many options this week, as we know from the blank. So I think he's definitely an option to go in the midfield slot there. Bruno Fernandes, as mentioned, obviously the most transferred in player this game week, who's got Leicester away. I feel like you could take a 1 week chance on obviously him on the free hit. I wouldn't bring him in on a non-free hit if that is an argument to have. But I think if you are on a free hit, it is definitely worth bringing him in and possibly capturing him as well. Because I think it's any goal involvement for Man United.
Yeah, just an update. Man United have just conceded 1-0 to Real Sociedad in the Europa League as soon as you mentioned that.
Well, maybe that's an omen. We have to see how that game ends. But it's not looking good for Man United. They usually do better when they're down 1-0. But yeah, in terms of Bruno, on free kicks and penalties, and he scored a lovely free kick in game week 28. So I think that's also value to add him into if Man United get a free kick that's perhaps just outside the box for Bruno to take as well. And finally, you got Clivert, who, well, you can't really argue with pretty much Clivert for Bournemouth because the way their fixtures are, even for a non-free hit, the next three are really good for them. Brentford at home as well. Strong fixture. Back-to-back returns from him, goal and assist from Tottenham and Brighton in 28 and 27. And I think in total this season, he's had 12 goals and 6 assists. So at his price at 6.2 million, cheap midfielder for this week, again, he will be popular. So I definitely would include him as well in this draft if he does get something against Brentford at home. And finally, the front three. This is based on previous performances in the last, say, 3 or 4 game weeks. And obviously Chris Wood is there. He's been pretty much outstanding for this entire season. I mean, he's blanked here and there, but overall, I think it's his best season, along with Nottingham Forest in terms of where they are in the table. 18 goals and 3 assists for Chris Wood. So he is definitely one to count on for that fixture. Next to him is a very, you could say, skeptical pick, because we know João Pedro has been the curse of FPL for us, who have owned him, didn't get anything. And when you don't own him, he gets a lot of points. So, but we can't ignore that obviously Brighton have had a good run of form in the last, obviously, 4 game weeks. I think that's 4 wins or 3 wins in a row for Brighton. But
yeah, I think it's 3 or something. 3 wins,
yeah.
I think.
But in all competitions, I think it's like 5 or 6. So at the moment, Brighton are on good form. We've seen João Pedro gain a little bit more form in recent game weeks too, from scoring the late penalty to get the win against Fulham, and then scored against Bournemouth, and then getting a goal and an assist against Southampton. So in the last 3 game weeks, he has scored in every game up to now. So again, he is a interesting one because he has Man City at home, Man City away, sorry. But again, even though that fixture is difficult, I still think he has the potential to get you something in this game. And then finally, Evan Nilsson, who's got Brentford at home. He's recently came back from injury. He's not expected to play 90 minutes yet. In my opinion, you probably play like 60 and 70 minutes, so bear that in mind. But I still think he's a good option going forward, especially if you have a Dango who pretty much, with Evan Nilsson back, obviously a Dango becomes more of a bench player now, and Evan Nilsson becomes more nailed to start. And just quickly, in terms of bench options, if you're not happy with Pickford, you could opt to go for the Arsenal goalkeeper Raya, who has Chelsea at home. It may seem like a fixture where you possibly won't want to play him, but there's a lot riding on Arsenal for the title. And Chelsea at the moment haven't been really that great in terms of form either. So they have been struggling to score. And I feel like maybe Arsenal, with their relatively good defence record, could keep a clean sheet, and Raya could bag the points from that. Bowen is another option in the midfield as well if you don't prefer to use any of like one of the midfielders or one of the front 3. He's got Everton away, so there's an option there. Dalot, again, for Man United, it's not the ideal pick if I'm honest, but he does get you that attacking return here and there. I think he got one against Southampton. It's a newly promoted team. Maybe he can get something from that game, or maybe a clean sheet. That's hopeful though for Man United.
Okay.
And then finally, Mikolenko. He's got West Ham at home. So if you're brave to play double, maybe Everton defence instead of maybe Kirkhead, then he's also there too, to switch around.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just going to say, in terms of what I would do, the things I would change from this free hit, obviously I've not gone with my free hit. I would still probably have Gabriel in there just for safety against the crowd. I think Gabriel is still very popular. So if you're not free hitting, Arsenal have the highest clean sheet. So I probably would still be a bit risk averse and include Gabriel for maybe someone like a Nuri. But obviously, if you want to take the upside punt, Nuri could be worth it. In the midfield, I like the picks. I'm not sure I'd include Mbeumo personally. I might swap him out for another midfielder. Just trying to think on top of my head who I'd go for, but he would probably not be in my wildcard draft. Then up front, I like the Wood pick and Evan Nilsson. However, I definitely would have a Man City attacker, Haaland, if you've got the money, or if you don't have the money, Marmoush. I think you've got to have at least one City player in a game week where maybe a lot of people don't have Man City players and go in for something different. So I would have a Man City attacker. But other than that, I like the free hit draft, and I'd probably go with similar. Evan Nilsson would obviously look like good picks this week. But yeah, so what you can add, Jordan? Were you going to say something?
Just a team value. Obviously, this is very affordable, 89 million team. So you've got a lot of money to spare with this free hit if you want to include other players too, like Haaland, like obviously about half suspension. So there is room for improvement if need be for the free hit.
We've got Dan who says, "Evening, guys. Evening, Dan. Hope you're well. Should I do a free hit? Again, if your team needs it, then you have to go for it. But it's hard to say without knowing what your team is. Have 10 players. Should I take a -4 to get a goalkeeper, and who? I think Jose Sarr could be a decent goalkeeper in terms of fixtures. Because obviously we know Wolves have that fixture run. Whether they keep clean sheets is another question. But I don't know if I would for a goalkeeper, to be honest. Not this week anyway, because you could wildcard in a couple of weeks anyway and just get your goalkeeper then. Hi guys, free hit this week. So far my team is Sells, Vardiol, Kirkes, Einar, Kluivert, Bruno, Palmer, Mbeumo, Bowen, Wood, Haaland, Evan Nilsson on bench. Thoughts? Yeah, that looks like a really nice free hit team. Obviously, a lot of the players that Jordan selected, you've gone with as well. So yeah, it looks like a solid free hit draft. Will Marmoush play? He should do, but obviously there's always that worry he could miss out. That's what I prefer to go with Haaland personally, just to be safe. You're not getting sales in your team despite playing Leicester. Yeah, that's another. I mean, you've gone with triple Forest already, haven't you? So
yeah, triple Forest, and I do prefer Aina instead of the goalkeeper as well, because I think you can get more points from Aina than Sales could, because obviously he gets the clean sheet, but Aina could get an assist or goal.
Let's pull up then our teams for game week 29. So I want to do my transfer plans, guys, and show you what my team looks like. Just bear with me for a second. So this is currently my draft, my team, I should say. So I have a couple of blank players, as you can see. In the lineup, I've got Rodgers, Isak, Watkins. On the bench, I've got Salah, I've got Trent, and I've also got Lewis, who probably won't start. So I'm in a bit of a pickle, but luckily I have 3 free transfers and I have 1.5 million in the bank. Now, first of all, what the plan is, I'm doing Isak out, and Haaland is coming into my team, pretty certain, who's got Brighton at home, and then he's got Leicester in game week 30. So I like the next 2 fixtures for Haaland. And Haaland obviously is a decent captaincy shout this week as well, I think, alongside Wood. The other player I'm looking to bring in is take out Watkins and bring in Evan Nilsson, who's got Brentford at home. That gives me the triple up on Bournemouth as well. So yeah, I like the look of the team now. And then finally, I'm also looking at taking out Trent, because as you know, I'm 0.7 short, so Trent has to go. And I've got a couple of options because I've got quite a lot of money in the bank. I've got 6.5 to get any player I want. I have considered getting in a Nottingham Forest defensive player, so someone like Milinkovic, or even someone like Nico Williams, because of to cover the Forest defense. And Forest obviously have Man United as well in game week 30, which isn't a terrible fixture. But at the moment, I've gone with let me do it just a second. So I'll take Trent out, and then I will bring in Vardiol as the option if it lets me. There you go. So Vardiol isn't 100%, if I'm being honest. I could bring in a Nottingham Forest defender. But for now, let's say it's Vardiol, and this is what I will do. So I've got 3 free transfers. I've used all 3. I've still got 0.6 in the bank, and this is what my team would look like heading into Blank Gameweek 29. So Pickford, Mikalenko, Gabriel, Robinson, and Vardiol. Midfield 3 is Dango, Kluivert, Palmer. The worry is Dango. I don't expect Dango to start. It's just one of those ones I have to just hope and pray that he starts, because I'm not 100% sure Dango will start, if I'm being honest. So I am praying that he starts, or I could take a -4 to get rid of him, but I'm not sure if I want to do that. Up front, I've got Wood, Haaland, and Evan Nilsson. I think for me that's the best front 3, which you can play. I know Beto's decent, but I prefer these 3. And then yeah, that's with no hits. So I've sort of changed my strategy, because initially I was looking to sell Palmer, but then I realized, why am I selling Palmer when he's got a fixture? So I just thought keep him. The only other thing I could do for a -4 would be to remove Dango and bring in Semenyo. And that's for a -4. And that's for exact money. So if there's any price rises, I'll have to go soon. So I don't know what you think, Jordan. Would you take the -4 to do Dango to Semenyo? And you know Semenyo is going to start against Brentford, and you know he's going to start against Ipswich in game week 30 as well. So I'm tempted to do it for the -4, just so I can get a 100% starter this week, and next week's got a decent fixture as well. So that's for a -4, or I can leave Dango and take the risk. What would you do?
Yeah, with Dango, obviously there's that rotation risk with Evan Nilsson being back. I think I probably would take that -4, if I'm honest, because it means you're guaranteed obviously 11 starters. And the other alternative is, which you could consider too, is if Lewis does start, then you could possibly just play Lewis, and if he doesn't, then maybe just have a Dango on first team bench and see.
The worry with Dango is he will probably come on and play however many minutes. I'm just having a look at Dango's last couple games. Dango played 19 minutes against Spurs, 76 minutes against Brighton. He did start the one against Brighton, but Evan Nilsson is now back, which isn't good news for us Dango owners. Evan Nilsson got his first start in ages since coming back from injury against Tottenham. I think Evan Nilsson 100% is a starting, forward. Dango was only getting minutes or starts, I should say, because of the injury. But now Evan Nilsson's back, I expect him to start. So yeah, that's why I'm tempted to take out Dango for a -4 and just bring in someone safe, Semenyo, and exact money as well, 0.0 million.
Yeah.
And yeah, I like the rest of the team, to be honest. I think I've got a decent midfield. I've got a good forward line I'm happy with. Vardio could be interesting. Mikalenko, Gabriel, Robinson might not be the best fixture against Spurs, but Spurs do concede goals. So I think the rest of the team looks fine, and that's for a -4.
I think Robinson included in there is pretty good. I think because obviously Tottenham are playing tonight.
Mm.
I believe so. Fulham have a week's rest, so possibly Robinson could make it worthwhile from that. The only annoying thing is if you knew that Lewis would start, that would save you obviously taking that -4. But not knowing obviously the early lineup, it's a gamble to obviously play Lewis in case he doesn't start.
Yeah, and ideally, I don't really want to play 5 defenders anyway. I don't think.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing. But let's say I do take the -4 and then I move on to game week 30. And then the team looks a lot stronger. Obviously, Salah will come back in. There's a bit of a benching headache now, sort of. I'll probably bench Mikalenko. I'll bench Rodgers against Brighton away. So I can just roll next week, but I probably wouldn't roll. I will probably take out Robinson and bring in a 1-week punt on the defender, possibly. Or I can take out, Palmer against Tottenham, depending on how Palmer does. Because I'm probably going to wildcard in game week 31. So I probably want to do a 1-week punt on whoever's got a nice fixture. Bournemouth, obviously, tripled up already. Palace, I could bring in a Palace player for a week. Maybe Munoz, game week 31. So I can do something like Robinson to Munoz. Munoz has a Southampton away that week. And then that looks nice for game week 30. Oh, I wouldn't be able to afford it, actually. I just realized because I've got 0.1 short. Yeah, so
that's a bit of a predicament.
I'll have to go to maybe a Forest defender. Or I could go to a Newcastle defender. Let's say 8 Nuri against West Ham, someone like that. So if I can't afford Munoz, let's say Nico Williams, who's not got the best fixture, Man United at home. But you never know, they could keep a clean sheet. So, and then in game week 31, I could wildcard. I probably will wildcard this week. Looking at the fixtures, and yeah, that's the plan I think for now. But I'm not set in stone. But that's probably what the plan is, guys. I'm maybe taking a -4 this week, just so I risk. I don't risk having 10 because obviously I don't think Dango will start.
No, not. I don't think he'll start either. With Evan Nilsson back, he'll probably come on for like 20 minutes or so, and sub was Evan Nilsson off for the remainder.
Yeah, what's your plans then for transfers? Are you taking hits or how many players can you get out? Let's have a look.
Yeah, so obviously,
if you want to share your screen.
Yeah, it's not letting me share my screen.
Hold on, just take my one out and then put yours in.
There we go. And just remove the banner. So yeah, here's the current team at the moment for Blank Gameweek 29. Obviously, in terms of the blanks, there's Trent, Rodgers in the 11. The rest are obviously playing. Pickford, Mikalenko, Milenkovic, Hoyson, Palmer and Burma, Kluivert, Wood and Wissa, with the remaining benching players on that don't have a fixture on the bench. In terms of the plans, I'll switch over to the transfer page because to have a better look at this. So can you see that right?
Yep.
Okay, good. So yeah, in terms of plans, I got 3 free transfers, 1.8 million in the bank, and obviously because of Trent being injured and uncertain of how long or how bad that injury is, I'm going to make the transfer for him anyway, because I do want Munoz for game week 30. I'm thinking of bringing in Aitnuri, who's got Southampton away, and it's been a while since Aitnuri's had an attacker return, but he has kept some clean sheets here and there in between. and I think Southampton away is a good chance of one or the other. So that's the first transfer to make. Next one is for obviously Rodgers, who doesn't have a fixture, and that leaves me with 9.8 million in the bank. Now, this one I'm half contemplating because it's just for 1 week. But I am looking to go towards a Man United midfielder. And I guess you can know who that is, and that is Bruno Fernandes. And you know how reluctant I've been with obviously choosing a Man United asset. But I think for just the 1 week, I will exempt obviously Fernandes in the team. So obviously that leaves me one free transfer with 1.4 million in the bank. However, that does give me 11 players in the starting 11. So that will be a 4-4-2 formation. So it'd be Milenko, Aït-Nouri, Milenkovic, Hoyson at the back, with Fernandes, Cliver, and Burma and Palmer in midfield, and then Wissa and Wood up front.
Yeah.
And in terms of possible captain, it's between Wood and Bruno Fernandes for me. So you'll see by the deadline stream who I go for, but I'm still indecisive of who to pick between Fernandes and Chris Wood.
Yeah, I think that's a much better plan compared to what you initially tried to do, where you were selling Wissa rather than selling. I don't think there's a point selling a player that's got a game. I don't think. I think that's a much better plan. Getting in players, taking out players that don't have a game.
Yeah, I think that sort of helped the headache because I wanted to keep Trent for game week 30 and onwards, but because of that injury now, I'm not sure how serious it is. It's sort of influenced my decision in taking him out now.
Yeah, I would have took Trent out even if he was fit for game week 30, to be honest. Personally, I was going to take him out anyway. So, yeah, I think it's better if you're keeping Trent, keeping Salah, keeping Palmer. It takes up too much of your budget, really. So,
yeah, I mean, if I'm able to afford Bruno Fernandes and send Trent, that's a huge amount of money saved up there and obviously upgraded, and I still got 1.4 million left to spend elsewhere. So yeah, I'm in a very good position for the blank game week, I think. And I'm navigating from not using the free hit as well, which I could possibly save for a double. But that's the current plans at the moment.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, looks like some good moves. Thoughts on whether I should start Evan Nilsson and Baby bench and Burma or Palmer? I'll start all of them. Semenyo is only worth it if you think he scores 6 or more points, which he has only done 3 times in the last 18 game weeks. And even then, Dango can still outscore that if he comes on and gets a return. So in terms of the -4, obviously, if he plays this game week and next game week, that's the 4 points. I just need him to get 1 return essentially in the next 2 game weeks, and it will sort of pay off because I will be getting him for next week as well. Hi guys, Cunha, Palmer, Trent out for Haaland, Cap, Elanga, Nico Williams for a -4, or Cunha to Evan Nilsson and Hall to Vardiol for free, and Cap Wood. So Haaland, Elanga, Nico Williams for a -4, or Cunha to Evan Nilsson and Hall to Vardiol for free. It's a tough one, but it depends who you're going to captain in game week 30 as well. The one reason I really want Haaland is not as much for this week as well. It's next week as well when Haaland plays Leicester. But obviously Salah has Everton at home next week in game week 30. It's a while away, obviously, because it's in April, still the international break. Salah comes back, has Everton. Who will you captain in game week 30? If you want to captain Haaland ahead of Salah, then you might want to go the Haaland route. Haaland's got Leicester, Salah's got Everton. I'm undecided. Obviously, we know how great Salah's been this season. We know Liverpool are also now knocked out the Champions League. So there were some people maybe contemplating taking Salah out your teams, but now Liverpool are out the Champions League. I would strongly avoid taking out Salah because Liverpool won't have any more midweek games. It's 1 game week now for Liverpool to the end of the season, and Salah's going to play every game now. No need for rotation. Liverpool are just going to try to win every game now. So I would keeping Salah as captain again over Haaland could be worth it in 30 now as well.
Yeah, and I'll probably go for the second option instead of taking the -4. I'll probably take Cunha out for Evan Nilsson and then Hall to Guardiola for free, and then obviously Captain Wood. That is the scenario I would take for your 11.
Dan, I'm thinking of doing Salah, Trossard, Cunha to Bruno, Clive, Wood. I'm not keen on taking out Salah anymore personally. Even if Liverpool went through the Champions League, I'd be reluctant. But now Liverpool are out of the Champions League. Salah playing 1 game a week, wanting to break the records. I personally don't like taking out Salah, but you'll have to weigh it up. I'm thinking doing Salah, Trossard, Cunha we read this one out. Captaining one of them, getting Salah back in 30. Yeah, if you can get Salah back in for 30, then that's fine. Because obviously Salah blanks in 29. He surely can't punish us when he doesn't have a game. Good transfer, Jordan. You're in a decent position, being able to roll, says Dan as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And Salah captain Game Week 30. Yeah, it's going to be interesting because I think people that own Haaland could be tempted against Leicester. But obviously we know Salah has done, having a fantastic season. So it will be interesting to see what happens because obviously there's a big international break. There's a 2-week gap and then Game Week 30. So should be good.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're probably going to wrap it up here. We don't want to go on for too long on this one. I think unless there's anything else you want to add, Jordan, about something we didn't discuss, captaincy quickly.
Caps, yes.
For me, it's between Wood and Haaland. I will bring Haaland in. I've not really decided. I think either one is good. I know people aren't as keen on Haaland, but Haaland has scored more goals than Chris Wood this season, guys. I know it might not seem like it, but he actually has scored, I believe. Let's have a look because I keep forgetting. Stats. Goals scored. Haaland has 2 more goals than Chris Wood. But Chris Wood is on fire as well. He's got Ipswich. Haaland has Brighton. We know Brighton are playing decent again. I'm trying to see how many wins now. That's now, it is 4 Premier League games in a row where Brighton have won. Yeah. They obviously won big against Chelsea and Southampton, 3-4-0. And then they have had 2-1 wins against Fulham and Bournemouth, which were impressive. 2 home wins in a row. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I don't think Wood is a bad shout. I don't think Haaland's a bad shout. I'm not decided. I'm more leaning towards Haaland to be different because I know a lot of people won't have him. And I want to chase. Obviously, I got a slight red arrow last week. Not a big one. And I might go there to break the template slightly at this stage, obviously with 9 games left. So I'm not decided. But yeah, I think those are the 2 standouts. Obviously, you can go differential on someone like Bruno or even
Kluivert.
Yeah, someone different. Yeah.
But yeah, he could have had a massive haul in Game Week 28. Kluivert, he hit the post, had a goal ruled off offside. So yeah, there is opportunities in midfield, and obviously they do score more points than when they do score over the forwards.
Mm-hmm.
But team dependent. Yeah,
I mean, I look forward to doing the deadline stream, or is it Saturday? I think it's a 1:30 deadline, so later deadline than usual. So yeah, a lot of good fixtures this weekend. Looking forward to it. We know there's a cup final as well, Carabao Cup final. Hopefully Liverpool can get the win. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the knee-jerk stream on Sunday as well, guys. So make sure you tune in for that. It should be a great one. But thank you guys for watching. Hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed. Just one more comment. If Trent is ruled out for the season, Bradley an option? Yeah, it's possible. Again, we don't know how serious Trent is. He's definitely missing the final, I believe, on Sunday. I think Slot pretty much confirmed he's missing the final. And then there's a 2-week break anyway because of international break. So Trent will get a bit of time, but he looked a bit serious. So I don't know how long. It could be 2-3 weeks, maybe. Obviously, I'm just guessing. So I don't know how serious it is, but until we know, it's hard to say what to do with Trent, guys. So if you've got Trent, even if he was fit, I said to sell him because I just think the way the season, you're going to need Isak probably for Game Week 32. You want to hold Salah, so with the money you've got to spread it around, and I think Trent, I was selling him regardless, so it's just made it even easier for me. But yeah, have a good one, guys, and see you in the next one.
Yeah, take it, guys. See you on the live stream.